Like we'll conduct business after he's finished. He would hurry so we can get through. I'd hurry so he could get to it, so we will. Has anybody not heard the new definition for violin?
No, but I'm afraid we're about to.
It is an evil place to spend the night.
Well,
Oh, at least they laughed. Thank you for being, I love having guests. I thank you for coming. Do we have any guests? Thank you for coming. Where'd y'all go to church Sunday?
We went to hear Reverend Owen.
You did?
Yeah, sure did.
I wish you'd made yourself known. The building packed full like that, I just almost. Tommy told me when the Historical Society was organized that Mavis had it put in the minutes that we would be somehow connected to the museum, an adjunct of its activities, or its deepest and loving supporter, or something. I don't know the words, I haven't seen it. But it's been wasted on me for about 4 or 5 years. I didn't know that. I mean, Johnny calls me when he wants me to find a cemetery. I called him when I want him to gather up all the tables and chairs from the old restaurant that burned down. I mean, there's something going on between us, but I didn't know we really had a connection. He said he was good for about 15 minutes.
No, I said I could probably talk for about that.
Okay.
No promises on the good.
That reminds me of my preacher. I asked him one time, I said, how long does it take you to prepare a 30-minute sermon? He said, at least 5 days, all week long. I said, well, how long does it take you to prepare an hour-long sermon? He said, about 15, 20 minutes. So, he can go either way.
Preacher asked me one time, when do you prepare your sermons? He said, start on Saturday? I said, no. He said, all week? No. And I said, I wait until I get to church. And he said, well, what do you do between the second and third songs? I said, that's when I prepare my sermons. Oh, do you know what the new definition for violin is?
What?
It's an evil place to spend the night. Johnny's my neighbor. The last time that Pat fell on the floor, he came over and helped us pick her up. The second to the last time she fell, we called an ambulance. And write this in your book, it is a community service at no charge. And I asked, could we get a discount on a helicopter ride if we needed one? They said no, but they would come out and help her up. And Johnny helped her up, and we really appreciate that. We've added your name to the list of people that will come and help her up out of the floor. Are you going to talk about how we are associated in our two organizations?
Somewhat.
Okay, and I have a promise to get your picture in the paper.
All right.
Do I have your permission to put this speech on YouTube?
No, if you must, go ahead.
I don't must.
Well, I mean, it don't matter. You know I ain't
Let the
bashful.
whole world see.
You know I'm not bashful, so. But Jerry did invite me to make a talk to the Tippah County Historical Society, and kind of like when he was talking about it just now, I wasn't sure exactly what it was supposed to be about, but I was kind of figuring out that it was how the Historical Society could be a help to the Tippah County Historical Museum. Is that pretty close, Jerry?
That's the very thing I would have called.
Okay, that's what. But before I do that, thanks to the fact that late last year, I was asked to make a little talk to a teachers group that met here about the museum. And when I was preparing that little talk, I came upon a little fact that some of you know, I know for a fact because you was involved in it, and some of you may not know, but in November of 1997, which about the time I made that little talk late last year was the 15th anniversary of, that's when the museum was started. by of course, Ms. Coley and, some of the other, retired teachers. And until Miss Odeline, got sick on us a little over a year ago, she was still very instrumental in the day-to-day operation and seeing that things ran pretty much as they should here at the museum. And, again, I'm not gonna try to call names in this because I'm afraid I'll miss somebody, but, there are still a few of the other retired teachers that, remain active as volunteers here at the museum, when they're needed for, if we have a big group of kids, scouts, or other special occasions. And as I'm sure most of you know, the museum, this house the museum is housed in, was built around 1875 or 1876 by Mr. W. Robinson. And Ms. Hermie Howitt was the last descendant of Mr. Robinson that lived in his house. And after she went to the nursing home, well, the way my understanding is that the People's Bank purchased this house. And of course, they're the ones that the museum leases the house from, and they're really good to help us with the upkeep and everything. They're a big part of the reason the museum is able to operate today. And before I try to tell the people, members of this historical society, what I feel like they could do to help the museum, I want to thank the Historical Society and its members for what they've already, or you have already done to help the museum. And besides what the individual members do and have done for the museum, the club has been very instrumental in helping maintain the financial well-being of the museum. It's primarily they've done this, or you have done this, in two ways. As long as I've been associated with the museum, the club has made a monetary donation to the museum each year. But the main way that the financial benefits have been given to the museum from the Tippah County Historical Society, there's 3 books: the big black book, the little black book, the Tippah County Heritage Books, volume 1 and 2. Were, I don't know how many copies that the Historical Society had, but they donated them to the museum. And also the book, The History of Tippah County, the First Century, by Andrew Brown. There was a lot of copies of all 3 of those books that was donated to the museum several years ago. And to be honest with you, the revenue from the sales of these books out of the gift shop in here, that's our bread and butter as far as petty cash that's needed by the museum to buy equipment, purchase supplies for the museum. And Mother and I have commented on this several times. We don't really know what the museum would have done for petty cash funds if it hadn't been for the donation of those books. And we've still got several copies of all of them, but the museum's gonna be hurting when, I think, when they run out as far as the day-to-day operational money. And of course, that's kind of what the club as a whole, some of the things they have done. But the individual club members have also done a lot to help the museum. And again, I'm not going to start calling names, because I don't wanna leave anybody out. But I do have a partial list of what the members have done that has been a big benefit to the museum. As I mentioned earlier, some in this club are among the retired teacher group that started the museum. And several members of the club have volunteered, excuse me, along with the retired teachers, that when they are needed to help out, come on in. That's all right, come on in. You here, come on in. They have volunteered, members of this club have volunteered their time to, as I said, help out with school, groups, scouts, and volunteered to help with events like the Faulkner Festival and other events that have taken place here at the museum. And several, at least two I can think of right offhand, have lended their collections of different things. Matter of fact, one of the members has a collection in here right now, and he's had several. And there's other members that's had the collections. As you may or may not know, we've got a little display area back here in the back hall, where we try to, each quarter, we try to display somebody's, primarily collections. It's usually some kind of collection they have. And it's been several members that's provided those collections. And we've had at least one member, and I'm not sure whether more or not, that's provided artwork for an art display in this room here. I know a lot of you have been to some of the art displays we've had of local artists. And there's one member I know in particular that demonstrated a special skill that he had at one of the museum events. Again, I'm not gonna call names, but I will tell you, and you don't know what I'm talking about probably when I say this. Out here on the lawn, I think it was one of the Chickasaw events, Indian events, he demonstrated how to make wood shingles with a hammer and froe. All right, that gets me down to what I was asked to talk about. What can you do to help the museum? And I feel like that volunteers, I think they're our greatest asset for the museum, also our greatest need at the museum. We need your continued support as volunteers when we have the group tours and special events at the museum. And there's an area that even before I was associated with the museum, that I was Mother's been involved in the museum a good while, and my wife Kathy was involved with it before me. I kind of trying to fill in for her after she had to go back to work. Had to have some insurance paid for Trina. But it's always been a problem trying to come up with some kind of ideas and people to help with coming up with some kind of things for fundraisers. don't know, we just seem to kind of stall out when it comes to coming up with ideas that are very successful in fundraising. We did raise enough money, with some help from the bank when we put the lift in for the handicap access to the upper floor of the museum. But, I think that's one of the main needs that the museum has. If any of y'all, as a group, individuals or whatever, can come up with, anything we can do that, we can raise some money. Like I say, the books help tremendously with the day-to-day operations of the museum, but the museum's like each of us and about every other organization, they can always use a little extra money if they can, come up with ideas in some way to raise the money. And of course, there's always, well, I say always, there's on occasion, there's a need for extra hands to help with maintenance of the outside of the museum, things inside the museum. So if any of y'all, and there's a gentleman that's not even a member of this historical society that last year came by and volunteered his services. Mother took his name down, wrote it on the bulletin board in there. And last fall, she got ready for me to cut a bunch of bushes and weed and the big, I thought this part of the shrubs back there behind the museum, to tell you the truth, but she said they needed to go. So I called that gentleman and he was up here a day or two, and he and I spent about 3 hours out there trimming up and cutting some limbs that was hanging down, messing up some of the ladies' hair when they'd come up the driveway. But, if anybody, would like to say, well, if you need help doing this or doing that, well, we've got more room in there on that list to put somebody else's name. And as kind of going along with the fundraising, there's, over the years, there's been a few special events, like I mentioned here at the museum. And if we hadn't done much with special events lately, but if anybody has any ideas about some kind of special event, of course, y'all are all interested in history, or you wouldn't be members of the Historical Society. And anything that would relate to something about history that we could have a special event here at the museum. We're open to suggestions and help with planning and carrying that out too. But I think probably our more urgent need right now, since Ms. Coley's been sick, we can't depend on her like we used to for what I'm fixing to mention. Come on in the house. Like I said, we used to depend on her a lot if both of us had to be out at the same time with my mother and I. Like if I had to take her to keep her over to the doctor or just anyway, anytime we have to both be out. Now we pretty much just put a note on the door and say, use a medical reason. Come on in. Now we put a note on the door and say, due to medical reasons, the museum will be closed the rest of the day or for how long we need to. But what would really be a help to the museum, if there's one or more persons that would be willing to volunteer to kind of learn, it ain't a lot to learn about what goes on up here, but to be willing to learn what they would need to help keep the museum open on occasions that Mother and I both have to have to be away from the museum during our regular operating hours. And like I said, the lady down there at the end of the table was depended on a lot for that before she got sick, but,
We were helping her then.
huh?
We were helping her.
Oh, yeah, but still, if we could depend on her to keep it open if we had to both be gone. But that is, that's the ideas I had that would, could be, the society could, historical society could do to help out the museum. And I'm not cutting any of y'all off. If you come up with any ideas on your own, we're more than, willing to welcome any ideas you have. Yes, Mark.
Well, I have talked to 5 aldermen that are running for office, and all 5 told me they do not know of a speaking at all. And that's a big fundraiser. They all pay like $50. If you just get FM 102, they set it up, you know, because they broadcast it. They charge them for like ads, so they run ads at that time on the radio. I guarantee you that'd be more than your budget for the whole year. And it's not, it doesn't cost you anything. I don't know who has the sound equipment, but
You talking about just like on the grounds out
just
here?
have it up here on the square, on the, you know, the west side of the
Oh,
steps.
just the museum sponsored the.
Yeah,
Oh.
and with Historical Society.
Yeah,
And, maybe we could do, especially if they know where the money is going to.
yeah.
And just Jerry Owens gets up there, says a prayer and introduces every one of them, and I have a time limit, that's it, man. About $50 a person. I've talked to 5 of them, and there is no speaking, you know how to supervise countywide, they have.
Oh, yeah, countywide, they always have.
Yeah, but there's none scheduled for the city.
See, and did they seem like they would be interested in it?
What's that?
Did they seem like they'd be interested in participating?
Well, I didn't ask him, I just asked him if there is one.
Oh, what, Mark? I didn't understand what you said.
A
A
candidate.
candidate speaking for the
Oh,
city
oh, oh,
official,
okay.
city election.
And so you wanna do it on the first, not on the second, because there's a lot more running on the first, you know.
Yeah,
But, I guarantee you, that'd be a big, nobody else is doing it.
If we could have it here on the grounds, it would,
well, it'd
give
be,
people, or whether it be room or
that's
not.
what I was gonna say, it might not be room.
Parking problem.
Yeah.
FM 101, radio station probably does the sound system because, see, they broadcast live while they're speaking.
Who would you need to talk to about trying to get that set up?
I don't know, I don't know all the details, the radio station for sure.
Scott Peterson is in charge of the radio station.
I'll either go by down there and give him a call and see
Eddie
if we-
Stroop, when he
Ma'am.
need the one, Eddie Stroop. Well, he's a county though.
And, put it in the paper, you know, that
That's
it's
what
gonna
they're
be a
talking
candidate
about. Not the city
speaking.
elections, the city
And,
elections.
The only thing is, we have to move pretty quick.
All right, can I, is it all right with the Historical Society if when I go call or go talk to him, if I, say it's a joint effort, gonna be a joint effort between the Tippah County Museum and the Tippah County Historical Society, would that be a problem?
I don't see how we can lose any money. We won't have anything really invested unless we take an ad out in the paper. So I think it's a win-win situation.
Well, let's decide that we will appoint these 2 gentlemen right here to head up the committee and arrange a candidate speaking for the Museum and Historical Society. And all in favor?
Yeah.
Does anybody object to this? Does everybody want the program?
We want to have it.
Do we want to participate in the program? Anybody object to our participating in the program? Anybody object to our making money off of this? Okay. You're in favor of it?
No, we want to have it.
Johnny and Mark are going to head up the committee.
And like I said, and that, not just at the meeting today, anytime anybody comes up with any ideas, any thoughts that, be beneficial for the museum, we're all ears. Thank you for letting me talk to them.
We'd like to have more people to come to the museum to visit. That's what, we need people, you know,
Would
people
you
here. in-
stand out in front with a gun and want people to-
Sure. How much did you make on the black cemeteries of Tippah County? That's what I was afraid
I
of.
don't know that we sold them.
Benny was about to.
Excuse me?
What I was gonna say, we need people to find out about the museum. There's people that come in here in Tippah County, they say, well, we didn't know there was a museum in Tippah County, in Lee.
Well, I mean, there's things in the paper about it all the time. I
I know
don't
it.
know what else you're gonna do.
Any signs going museum this way?
Yeah.
One thing we might consider at the end of the year, when they send report cards home with the kids, you can put like a little slip of paper in there with them, and they'll put them in the envelopes and seal them up and send them home with report cards. If you want to put like a little thing about, come visit the museum this summer, here's our hours, here's the good stuff we got.
It's kind of funny you brought that up, because a lot of the visitors at the museum is people that their kids and grandkids bring them. The kids really enjoy it.
And up until a few years ago, well, Ripley Elementary brought the 4th grade every year, the whole grade,
Every section,
you know,
every class.
in class. And, they haven't done it for, they say they don't have the money, but they go everywhere else.
They go to Buffalo Park and this, that, and the other.
How much money does it take to just gas with us, right?
Well, yeah, just to come from the elementary school up here, or even Faulkner, or Pine Grove,
I guess it's about the only school group we had last year from Hickory Flat.
If we could get in with some of the teachers and find out, you know, like when they're studying stuff that.
Well,
that
that's
will
what the
collaborate
fourth
with
grade,
what
the
we have
fourth
here.
grade was, they always were studying something.
Mississippi history in the 4th grade.
And that's when
And
they
then
brought.
they brought them at the end of the year.
We need to renew that group somewhere.
I
I
know.
don't know
Well,
what's-
when Mr. Campbell left, over there as principal, well. and
why,
now
since
he's
he's superintendent,
superintendent
was
of
like
the
he-
whole South District, so I don't know why he
But when
done
he was principal, was when they were
I
coming.
should put a buggies there. He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Call him on the phone, and go, what the heck?
well, I think somebody's talked to him, his company may have, and
Now, who's principal now over there?
They just have a new one.
Oh, is that where Ruby Bennett is?
She is Ruby Bennett.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's.
kinda thought it was.
Neither neighbors, you know,
Huh.
neither neighbors was first
Yeah.
when she
Before she
passed.
died.
Well,
But we never could get her interested.
well, I don't mind attempting that. She and Billy Ruth worked together at Wood Mountain. I've been a friend of that family for years.
And they
Two of
have
her
their
brothers.
gift shop.
That went up a whole lot.
Yeah.
Worked at Masterville, two of our best workers.
We,
And a lot of those kids, like I say, they'd come
Yeah,
and bring their
they-
parents and grandparents, names and numbers.
this one little girl brought her grandmother and her three of her grandmothers one summer. She brought, kept, said, well, I'll have to bring so-and-so next time.
But it's amazing how, like she said, how few people from Tippah County come to the museum as compared to people from way off everywhere. We have a lot of visitors, and some of them, I don't even know how they know.
Well, a lot of them have family.
Yeah, some of them have
here,
ties here.
Or some of the family lives here, and they're.
And a lot of them are looking for things about genealogy, which those books I mentioned is about all we have about genealogy.
Start pushing the black cemeteries in Tippah County.
Were you,
Well, now, we
you,
have some men who have had interest in the black cemeteries.
Well, I don't remember selling one of the books.
Yeah, I saw one or two of them
Oh, okay.
before you got up here, I guess.
So I put them in folders and made them as cheaply as we could to use. And I'll have, eventually have something like that for the Ripley Cemetery and something for the location of all the cemeteries in Tippah County.
Well, that was really big, because that's people, they ask about, you know, cemeteries, they come up here hunting cemeteries all the
Well,
time.
if I'm here, I go to the computer and look and find the grave and tell them where it is.
That's good.
Or send, give them Jerry's phone number.
Well, you'd think that Vicar Flat could come,
Now,
some of them from around here could.
That's right.
Well, the lady that brought them from Hickory Flat, she's from Ripley.
Yeah, but she still had to have money to get here.
Yeah, wasn't it, who, Josephine Bennett's granddaughter?
Mhm.
What should Lawrence be lining up with, the elementary school, principal?
Any group they want to, and, of course, we've got our regular hours, 10 till 2, Tuesday through Saturday, but, I tell everybody, I put it in that, quarterly newsletter, any kind of group, school group, scouts, anybody, we've, some people wanna come before, regular hour, some people want after regular hour, we try to accommodate anybody at any time.
Well, the scouts
Within the
wanna
group.
come, like, they have their meetings after school.
Yeah.
And they,
Like 3:30 or 4
a
o'clock.
lot, but that's, they wanna come, whatever, well.
Anybody that needs to come or wants to come,
Well,
it's not,
individuals that want to
yeah,
come.
we'll,
You have company from out of town and want to bring them to the museum, well,
we try to
just let
accommodate
us know.
anytime anybody wants to come.
What do the scouts do? What's their interest? Just the museum
Just the
period?
museum, period.
They have
They
had a
like-
meeting up here before,
Yeah.
and then to the museum.
They like,
They'll be in this room, they'll be in it.
Yeah. Mhm. The Indian room upstairs is one of their
Favorite thing.
favorites. But yeah, and there is other clubs that have meetings here once in a while. They, about once a year.
Of course, the Tipper Tigers used to meet here, they outgrew us a few years ago.
And the Silvertown is disbanded, so they're not meeting here anymore.
Those are the veterans, do they come here?
Well,
Those are the doctors come on
yeah,
Saturday, right?
Yeah, they
we
meet
leave Saturday
Saturday.
here, they met like Saturday. But anybody at the group or club or anything wants to have a meeting up here a while, just let us know so we can, know.
Anybody wants to have a meal, we've got 3 or 4 card tables, we can rearrange and put the card, Silvertown always had the card tables out, had meal.
Have we got a senior scout here? Anybody? Nobody was a scout? I was a Girl Scout for a while, but that don't.
I caught you.
I helped Miss Patty haul the girls to the bicentennial celebration or something like that.
No, we have 3 Girl Scouts too.
And then they told me to go home. I mean,
That's all they need is
that was
music.
it. Yeah, I was gonna help her start a fire one time when she was camping out, and she said, leave us alone, we know what we're doing, so I went home.
That's good.
Oh, there's one other thing, that wasn't really part of the speech, but I wanted to mention. I don't know how many of y'all saw Christina and her other cast members in Godspeed. But if you didn't, you missed something. I want to commend her and the rest of the cast on that play.
Thank you.
It was fantastic.
We loved it. We thought the preaching was wonderful. It really was. I was a little uneasy about Jesus dressing so casually. None of my Bible picture books had anything like that. At least he didn't need a haircut, that's.
So you never suspected to see him in suspenders, did you?
No.
Did pretty good for a Methodist.
It was really good. I mean, it sure was. He was just like he got off the boat of Galilee. I mean, he was the person. And this did it wonderfully.
They all did good.
It wasn't a bad point to it.
It was just like a a sermon of the Gospels. I mean, and I was surprised that the guy who wrote that play had ever read his Bible, but I mean, he would go from one event in the Gospels to the next, including parables and the burial, the resurrection, and it was, I really enjoyed that. And in an English less than 500 years old, I liked that too. That was really nice. Everything, we had a good time.
We never even bought some of the places. Wow, I bet.
I guess you know that we don't use a musical instrument when I go to church, but if you'd got Paul Adams to play his banjo, I'd have sung along with something.
Are you gonna be in one of the plays,
You
Christina?
think that may be
Are you
why
gonna
they
be in
didn't?
one of the plays?
Oh, we're not gonna be in any, maybe later.
I asked him personally.
Too much of a good thing.
And he shunned me. Listen, once you start singing, going down to the river, right, you gotta sing, man.
And it's,
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
we have two visitors. Well, she can introduce herself, so do it all.
I got a question for Johnny, not you.
Hang on a minute. Well, my wife had a question for me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
She take precedence, go ahead.
Okay, would you introduce our visitors? Didn't I meet them in the cemetery not long ago?
We're
They
Betty
were
and
on
Ed
top of the
Beavers.
ground.
Oh,
Betty
Tom?
and
Betty
Ed
and
Beavers.
Ed Beavers.
And you visited here before, haven't you? You promised you'd come back.
Yes, she did.
And for about 3 months, we said, where's the Beavers? And nobody's. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Did you get that location problem fixed up in the Christabel Cemetery and where you want people buried and things like that?
Oh, yeah, we've got it already.
You have?
Our place is waiting for us.
We have a question.
How many members do we have now, Johnny?
In the museum,
Well,
Historical Society, with the secretary is present. Give us an estimate, 22?
Oh, well.
Well, Tommy, would you have a dues?
They're about 20.
Did you keep my directory, Christina?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring that with me.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28.
Like that.
Good.
Well, with 19 present today, that's not a bad showing.
I've got one guy from Olive Branch, it's my occupation to raise money by passing aluminum plate, of course, but he just sent his dues and never comes to the meetings, and there's a possibility there. There are others who probably would love to donate $15.
He has a good news, man, but
Probably so. He'll call in.
Okay, questions for John? Volunteers for the museum.
Get away from that.
Okay, do we want to have a group hug, or shall I just shake his hand? Thank you for coming. You underplayed your capability in this.
Well, I appreciate you saying.
The humility was nice, but you did a good job.
I appreciate you saying.
I have a question.
We passed that
When
part.
we have these speakers, are we supposed to make food and try to sell it?
Yes,
Christmas and stuff?
we're going to make calendars and sell them.
I'm talking about food.
Well,
Do they used to have food that they sell at these events like
that's
this?
a possibility.
Or they just go home?
What event?
What event?
This, candidate speak.
You can sell things.
You can sell things.
You might end up giving you some.
Do we want to sell things?
Hamburgers and hot dogs.
Books like cemeteries in Tippah County, they don't buy things like that.
It might be a good way to advertise the museum.
That's not a bad thing.
We have gone to
Years he got in.
something on the square with Jerry also and put our books out. I don't know how well it did. I don't recall.
Jerry also was making those shingles and things when people came to the museum then. Was that called?
Further south than
Jerry was making the shingles, what was that called? What was the festival here called?
Well, it was actually part of downtown. They had things up on the square too, and we had, that was when the Indian, Chickasaw Indians was here, and then, I think it may not have been one time, the, next, Who did the teaching the
I was in Houston.
young
I'd be
people?
somebody retired.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know who you talking
Why
about.
not sit down and do that? I might sit down and do nothing.
And I can't think her name either. She probably was,
Lockhart.
Lockhart,
Yeah.
Regina
I
Lockhart.
wanna enjoy when I had lived.
That was a downtown association program?
Well, yeah, they had, I went, it was their fall festival, June festival, or something they had. And then, they had things set up all around the museum, well, who cooked, had that fish place out,
Sewer.
Sure, brought his cone and cooked fish, and had, you know, different.
Well, Tip Tigers cook hamburgers.
They
one
cooked
time.
hamburgers, we had, you know, things, food to sell, and,
Okay, we need a volunteer for the sale and cooking committee for the candidate speaking.
Nobody looks on it.
Everybody wants to.
When
We,
is the,
we might ought to get it set up first.
when is the election?
It's in May, isn't it?
May the 5th, I think.
Make the-
One of them, yeah, the first of them,
Well, we need to find out.
Well, when will they start speaking?
Before we
Mark,
start cooking food.
They're 3 weeks apart.
when will they start speaking?
yeah, that's what they'll have the primary May, the
When would they start
first of
speaking?
May, 2 weeks.
See what's
later.
going
on. Afternoon would be the best time.
Saturday afternoon, what part of the
Then the
month?
Yeah.
first Tuesday,
What's that?
June.
When?
They'll have.
Either a week or 2 weeks
Middle.
before.
2 weeks before. And that'll be in April, 1st of April?
No, it'll be toward the last of April.
May, in the election in May.
April the 13th is taken. So you can't have it on April the 13th.
Well, how about the 20th then?
That'd be, let me make that
When was the
announcement.
the first Monday in May, is
April
that
the
first
20th,
Tuesday in
maybe.
May?
Election can't be May 5th, that's a Sunday. Maybe it's the 7th.
Well,
Museums,
So it would be,
candidate speaking.
April the 27th,
what's
would
the
be 2 weeks
13th on?
before.
What's April the 13th? I think that's on a Saturday.
As is Saturday.
Well, I understand.
Okay, let me make this announcement.
Me going by.
Can I have your attention, please? We're going to make an announcement.
On April the 13th, the UDC is doing a memorial service at Union Cemetery, which is out Highway 4 West. You can turn right down Sand Road, so forth to Union Cemetery, for Patrick Henry Clifton. They're doing a memorial service for him. He was 100 years old, and he's recently gotten a tombstone put up. So they're doing a memorial service at 2 p.m. on April the 13th, and everybody is invited. Thank you.
I'm going. And I'm gonna tell Pam the directions.
Now, when
She
is,
wrote me this morning, I thought.
when is the election?
May this something or other.
Must be the 7th, that's the first Tuesday.
That may be.
And then as you said, the 13th of April, something's going on.
Yeah.
Well, then,
What time, the 13th?
20th or 27th, either one would
At 2
probably
o'clock
be
at
pretty
night.
good.
The first Monday music festival, I think is May the 4th.
That's the Saturday
Saturday
before.
before.
Are you saying,
I don't
are you
know.
thinking we might need to have it in conjunction or shy away from that day?
Or earlier.
Don't know.
How soon do you think y'all ought to have it?
We'll say it'd be a good opportunity.
I would say more than 2 weeks before.
Last ditch effort.
April something.
Who said May 20th? All right.
Well, let us,
April
let us,
20th,
we
then
need
you-
to
Well,
talk
it's
to the radio
the
station.
20th and the 27th
Yeah.
is, and then there's, the 27th is 2 Saturdays before.
Need to talk to them.
Well, when is our next meeting
Need
here?
to talk to them, see if they'll even do it.
Yeah, I know, that's why I said we gotta talk to them.
It'll be the third Tuesday. in
We're already
April.
through.
16.
Tuesday the 16th.
7 programs.
16th of April.
Does everyone know why the election's on Tuesday? Most everywhere now, some places maybe, y'all read the story behind that. Well, the forefathers figured you have a long weekend, you might go, if you had it on Monday, you might go still on a hangover, so that's what. That's documented.
Probably makes good.
Or you be in good mind, but still, sometimes you ain't got nobody vocal, even in a good mind.
George, you make sure everyone knows to sign Marjorie's card.
You're gonna be out
She's
of
in
the
nursing
country.
home.
Oh, well.
Marjorie Johnson is in the nursing home. Pat will send her a card with your signatures. And the card was made by a local artist, Ripple Rasmussen. This is a scratch block. And boy, does she ever do fine work.
And then for sale.
And the museum sells these.
Yeah, if he goes to buy one.
I went to see Marjorie not long ago, they wouldn't let me go
Wouldn't let you
in.
in?
Yeah, cause it's, yeah,
Somebody had the flu or something,
I can see why.
so I didn't get to see her.
Yeah. That's bad, cause going to,
Well, I was thinking of something, they took it to her. so
there you go.
She knew I'd been there.
I think she's supposed to go home.
Is that across the little sitters?
Yeah,
Has everybody
I
signed?
think so. She's supposed to go home next week.
Can we actually plan a program in our April meeting, or should we have a committee going before then?
You need to ask about the speaking?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of late, isn't it, if we wait till April
She
or
would just speak up right away. That's what you're gonna do in it, Johnny. Speak up that, have to start speaking in the square, where it's gonna be, do we want to do it, or somebody else does?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
If we can make a little money out of it, I might
Yeah,
be
somebody
for
else might get
it.
it if we don't speak up.
If it don't cost us anything, we make a little money out of it, sound like a good thing.
I thought they'd already decided.
Well, we have one more
Jerry's gonna
meeting
change,
before the election, April the 16th.
But we still need to, I think Martin and I need to try to get this ball rolling
Right.
on that, we're going to before then.
Before somebody else has that
that's
idea.
exactly right.
Well, you hit them up for the money right off the bat, and if somebody else has it, that's fine, you know.
Well, now, the county has several speakings, and they have the same money raising thing in every while. So even if somebody else does come up with one, we can still have one.
So where are we gonna have it? On the square?
On the square.
I think,
Where on the square? Where you have, underneath,
Courthouse.
Courthouse.
that's what I figured, yeah.
I think on Saturday afternoon, the police department will probably put up the barricades and, just pretty much they use most things they have on the west side of the square.
Must have-
Yeah.
it's easy
And
money.
so our meeting in April will give us time to decide if we're gonna sell stuff,
Yeah.
drink and eat, so we don't have to do that.
Mark, I'm gonna have to run, I gotta go pick my daughter up. You wanna give me a call,
Yeah, okay.
like tomorrow in the morning, I should be here 10 or 12 or so. We can talk about it a little further.
All right, I'll come back.
All right. I hate to run, I gotta go pick Courtney up.
I appreciate you bringing this up, Mark, thank you.
I gotta go back to work for a phone card.
I talked to the new, news editor, Beth, at the Sentinel, and, she didn't know why we didn't have our last 5 articles put in the paper.
Good to see everybody.
She'd put one in, and so here we go. I said, do I need to make any changes? She couldn't think of anything. I said, well, don't try to clean up all the messes that Hank made when he was there, but I mean, just work on this one for us. And she said she would. So, 5 months, and we haven't had a picture or anything put in the paper. Is there anything known about, oh, this is for me and Catfish. Is anything known, anything, about the old Guyton Methodist Church and Cemetery, both destroyed, in Blue Mountain Cotton Plant, on the Bobby Mays place, nearest access from the John Wayne Haynes place? We know where it is, but it is utterly destroyed. The stones have been pushed off and buried, the timber was burned over it and replanted, and the church building, probably a relic of the Civil War, it's gone. And I'd like to know who's buried there.
Very large cemeteries, 210 by 460, I believe.
Catfish wants to not only douse but probe and see if we can't find some of the holes they buried the stones in, but we'd also like to know if anybody knows anything of the history of the church and cemetery and the people that attended there. I looked in the Heritage book, and Marjorie had written 2 articles on the Guyton family, but nothing was said about the cemetery or anything like that.
What was the name of it now? Just the
Guyton.
Just the
Guyton Methodist Church.
Yeah, Guyton Methodist Church. And they find a grave that's just called Guyton Cemetery for some reason. Didn't know any better, I guess. And it's on Bobby Mays' place, and the nearest access and the best access is from John Wayne Haynes' place, who lives facing the highway.
Little over a mile up there
Yes.
from his house.
From his place. Have to follow the field road, so not
Still
going
in all the
nowhere.
best way.
When he gets it full of beans down, you go down there, you'll have to follow the field roads around to get back to it. By the way, if you want to go, have any business there or anything, Mr. Haynes authorized me to tell you that his first and middle name is the name of a famous cowboy movie actor. His last name is a name for underwear, and he said if you'll get that down, you'll never forget it. We'd like to know mostly at this point who was buried there. We know where the cemetery is. Catfish has helped in with the coordinates. We matched them up perfectly. I mean, that was no trouble. But there's no physical evidence outside of a rise like that, and maybe what used to be a road around 1 or 2 sides. That's all that's left.
It looked like a good place for a cemetery.
It sure did.
But
used to be great.
and you can walk it and pretty well visualize a church.
You sure can.
Right there west of it, and probably a road just west of that. One thing that draws me to it, I guess you'd say, Captain Guyton in the Civil War loaned my great-grandmother a cabin and some ground there. They owned a lot of ground down there. And she and the oldest 3 girls made 3 crops down there while them people was in the war.
And we thought that started with the Second World War, didn't we? I had never thought about what the women were doing at home, the rigors they went through during the Civil War.
Oh, she was, they hail MP for his bravery, but Sir Holmes left Kossuth with Union soldiers in the yard under the pretense of selling eggs, had 9 kids in the wagon, crossed Hatchet River at night to get away from that and come down here. Now, that old girl had guts.
Yes, she did. There will be an archival digitation workshop, and that's primarily what Lamar is up to. And the idea behind it, I don't know, go to the workshop, but the idea behind it, as we see it, is that you want to digitize the computer record, photographs, and of whatever historical documents you're saving. It certainly cut down on space and that sort of thing. And I guess they'll tell you how. It's at Delta State on April the 17th. And registration, I have an email address if you want to register, a phone number if you want to call, archival digitation. Tommy and I would like to have a roundtable discussion of school days at a Tippah County Historical Society meeting. By that, it sounded so good when we heard it here, and I still think it's a great idea. It's not an educational program as such, but it's memories and stories. And sit around and talk about going to school. Everybody can participate. Let's see. But we got another speaker coming up in...
Oh,
yeah. In April. And then, that's Zach Stewart in April, road agents and what do you call those people? Outlaws in Tippah County, that was the idea. And then after that, I called Tim Needham, that is his name. I called Tim Needham and said, we were talking about metal detecting, and he does that for a hobby. And I said, come here and tell us about metal detecting. Ken mentioned his name, I called him up, and he said he'd love to come. And also, he wants to talk about making wooden toys too. So maybe we can get a display for the museum over there.
He had a display here one time.
He did?
But he will be interested in another one if he's,
Wooden toys and metal detecting on May the 21st. And if you can think of it, give him a call, remind him something. I'll do my best to remember to call him. I'll tell my wife, and she'll remind me too. May the 21st would be Tim Needham. Then we'll have programs open in June then. Johnny Wilbanks is today's speaker. Is there business old or new?
And Mark will discuss his project about the cameras scanning documents. Do you have a report about that?
Hey, Pat wants to know if you built a scanner yet.
No,
I did, and I've already been back with it. I did.
okay.
I'm glad you came.
We may have something picked out.
The camera that we looked at, they have got a new model of the camera out. So the one that we picked out has gone down $100.
Oh, great.
So,
Well, is
We're gonna
this
get a
new
discount
one,
on
is
that.
it more powerful, is it getting more pixels?
yes,
How much more is it?
it's about $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot more.
Stick with the one
Yeah,
we had.
it ain't that
Okay,
much more
okay.
fancy.
As I understand it from one of our meetings, you're good for $3,000, aren't you?
I think so.
Yeah,
I still-
325 or 3.
I still believe we can do it for less than that, though.
I was, without the stand hold and whatever we're gonna do to hold the camera,
Okay.
we're up to about $1,650, which is
That's
less
fine.
than the last estimate of $1,720. So,
I bet you save coupons from the paper, don't you?
You think we're far enough along to actually order?
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I think we can go ahead and we can order, and, the only thing that we'll need to do is see if we can get somebody to construct us a,
Yes.
platform
Okay.
with a mount.
Okay. I think we can start out with a tripod similar to
I
that.
think so too.
Yes.
And we
I've
may
got,
be able
I've
to
got
do
one we
with it.
can use for a while,
Yes.
and I'll build
I
something.
think a tripod
Hold
is
it.
about $20 or $30,
Yeah.
if we'll decide we wanna buy one.
I bet Tommy's got an old one he'd give you.
Hey.
I have.
He gave me one.
I suggest that you and Lamar give Tommy the information of what you want to order and let him order it.
Okay,
Is that right?
that work for you?
Okay,
All right.
let's do that.
Okay, now tell me about the computer part of this. How's that work, and what do we have, what's it cost?
What, the notebook that we were looking at, has actually been discontinued, but I found one that's comparable to it. It's an Acer Aspire notebook, it has an i5 Intel processor, so it's fast. It's got, four is it gigabytes, megabytes, four something of memory, so it should run fast. We shouldn't have a lot of lag coming bringing from the camera to the computer. It's got a 17-inch screen on it, so people like me who have to get up like this to see anything, we should still be able to see. That's large for a laptop.
And that'll be part of the use of it once it's scanned, I mean, the people will use that for. So that'll be a fixture in the archive?
Yes.
Do we need both of those programs like that, i5 card?
I
Do we
don't
need
think
that?
so.
What about that, what's the-
Lightroom, we
That
do
Light-
need Lightroom,
Okay.
and it's
you-
$135
Okay.
software, but since we're nonprofit, we might be able to get it,
Okay.
maybe able to get it cheaper.
Have you talked about lighting this project yet? You know what you're gonna put on it?
Camera flash should work.
Yeah.
Camera flash.
Yeah.
We bought
It comes out of
we bought 3 daylight bulbs and tried it in some shop lights at the
Yeah.
house. And without a camera, made a pretty good picture. I don't think the lights are gonna be any
I
problem.
don't know, when we get the settings adjusted on the camera, it should be able to to take care of itself as far as the light.
Well, while we're here now, and we're all geared up for this, is there anything that's slowing it down? Can you go? And will you go? I mean, are you ready?
Yeah. I
mean,
can email you all
You got
all
us for
specs, we can-
$3,000, take it and run.
So, and you think 1,600? Roughly. That leaves a
1651.99,
lot-
what I've got
That
right
leaves,
now.
that leaves a lot of money to get to 7.
It's
And
just
these
not-
prices are current from today.
Yeah. And tell